So this is Kevin. So I want to say something about reading. So reading became something very special to me. So reading is basically what is the thing that I least like to do. Never like reading. Okay. But after I listened to Jim Rohn, and I decided to start a habit of reading. Okay. So basically what made me decide to read is just because there's no other way. Like I try a lot of things in life to make my life better, and nothing works. And what Jim Rohn suggests, or he believes, is that all you have to do is just start reading. Pick up a book and start reading, and just read a bunch of books. Okay. And he claimed that if you start reading, like your whole life will change, everything will change, everything like will make you smarter, make you more confident, just everything will change. Okay, but that's what he said. I don't know if that's true. But since I have no way out, I don't know what I'm doing, so I just, okay, yeah, sure, I'll just do it. I mean, if that's how it takes to change your life, I guess I'll just read. And so I just started reading. But I don't know what's going to happen. I just like, whatever you say it's going to work, so I guess it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know. But anyway, I did just start reading. Okay, but reading is very hard for me because I never liked to read. Even when I was in elementary school, I remember kids would like to read about those... when I was little kids in Taiwan, people like to read Sherlock Holmes. And it's kind of like nowadays kids like to read Harry Potter, But like back in the day, when I was little, people like to read Sherlock Holmes. And they was like, oh my gosh, Sherlock Holmes is so good, here, read. But I was like, I could never read. I can just never pick up a book and read. I just don't like reading. There's no picture, there's only words, and I thought it was like really stupid. And I just don't read. So I never liked reading. And so when I first started to wanted to read, it was pretty hard for me. Like I'm not a good reader. But I was also very lucky. See, this is one of the lucky things that happens, is that technology, it really like it just so happened that technology happens. Okay, at that time there was something, it's called the nuke. It's not a smartphone, but it was just a device that you can put digital books on it. So it's like an ebook. Okay, so I got a little device, and then it's just like one thing, like a size of a big cell phone. It's like you can carry with you. It's pretty light. And then at that time, you can just put books on it, and then you read it like a book. Like it doesn't light up or anything, so it's like if you're in the dark, then you cannot read it. You have to like use a lamp, and you will see it. And it's like a digital book, digital book device. And at that time, that's what it looks like. It's like you open it, and then you pick the book, and it will start it just show the text. That's the only thing it shows. No graphic, no nothing. And then it doesn't even have light. It doesn't light up. So you have to like read it like as though you're reading a real book, but it's not a real book. It's like kind of like a big calculator, but it just show text. And you can flip the pages like a book. Like when you flip an actual book, like you turn the page, like that thing is like, I was like very intrigued that like you can just like use your finger to like turn the page, and it'll show the paper like folding. It's kind of like a real book. It was like, wow, it's like a real book, And I guess I was very lucky because they just happened, to invent something like this. So I was able to read. If it was like an actual book, I have to go buy a physical book, and I have to like really like read the actual book, and it's all heavy, and it's like made out of paper, and like it would be like a disaster. I would not read, but it just happened to times are different now. Like people don't read actual books anymore; they read ebooks. So I was reading that. That's my first book. It's an ebook thing. It's called the New. Okay. So that was one thing that I was very lucky. And then another thing is also very lucky, I guess, is that I just happened to start my books with one of the most awesome book is called The Hunger Game. That's like my first book, and I'm glad that was my first book. It was still till this day the best novel I ever read is The Hunger Game. The Hunger Game, yay, The Hunger Game. But like I say, I never read. So when I first started reading, The Hunger Game, it was hard for me. I was very, very slow reader, and I know The Hunger Game, that book is not a hard read. It's very easy read, and it's not a long book. Like average people can probably finish that book in like a week. Is probably like the most time they're gonna spend on reading that book. It's probably just finish it in a week at the most. Maybe just finish it in a day or something. But for me, it took me like months to finish that book. But don't get me wrong, like I enjoyed that book very, very much, man. Like my mind was like, I was in it, I was in The Hunger Game while I was reading that book. It was so good. And maybe because this is my first book, I don't know. So I was reading The Hunger Game, and I liked it so much. I enjoy reading that book so much that I bought the rest of the book, right? It has 3 books, so I bought, I don't know, what's the second book called? Like Start the Fire or something, like, and then the Mockingjay or whatever So I read all 3 books. And what happened is that second book, I read it is faster than the first book. So I finished that faster. And the third book, I finished it faster than the second book. And then I liked it so much, I read all 3 books again. So I read The Hunger Games like twice. I have never done that in my life. So I read it twice, and of course it went quickly. Like my reading just got better right away. Okay, so that's my first experience with reading. So after that I started reading. Okay, but of course, like if you read The Hunger Games, you're not gonna really learn much about stuff. I mean, it's a really good book to learn about like human nature and stuff, and I think it's just a really awesome book. But overall, like how much can that book actually teach you? But anyway, I didn't care. I just like, Jim Rohn say read, so just read. So but after those 3 books are basically my gateway book into the world of reading. So after that 3 books, I just started reading other books because I guess I found the joy of reading or whatever. It's possible. It's not that hard. I can read relatively, not fast, but like at a good pace, So I started reading books, and I kind of realized that, man, books really is like a whole world of like knowledge. Like the books is. It's like we live in this world, but there's also another world. It's like the world of books, and books in itself show you the world, to show you the life of other people. Like books is so wonderful. It has knowledge, and like book is something like the transmission of words. It's been around for ages, and it does magic. I guess one day scientists will realize what words can do to people, but right now they really don't know much about it. They just know that it's a symbol and people read it, read it with your mind, whatever. But like my experience, that book is pretty magical. It's something that really, like Jim Rohn say, can change your life. So I encourage everyone to read. If they don't have a habit of reading, just start reading something. Start reading some shit, anything. Just start with something. Just read. Okay, so that's what I did. So I started reading books, and basically I started to look for books to read, and I basically just indulge my mind. Anything I want to learn about anything I want to know, anything I want to find out, anything that looks good, anything that intrigues me, all of my interests, basically anything I wanted to know anything about, I just found it in the book that talks about it. I just started reading it. Okay, so I read all kinds of books. I read biography, I read history, I read science book, I read academic book, I read technical books, I read novel, I read science fiction, I read, just, story, I read old literature, I read, like, just any books, not like classic book, I don't read that much of that, but just any books. I just, I look at my list, my collection. It's pretty broad. There's no like set category. I like reading pretty much everything, and so that's that. And I start reading. Okay, and my source of book is from NPRs because at that time I listened to NPR. Oh, that's another thing. So another thing that changed is from Jim Rohn is that I stopped listening to like stupid things like pop music or like whatever. I mean, yeah. Okay, I take it back. It's like it is stupid. Okay, it's not. Try not to. Well, no, it's not that stupid. Well, like it is stupid. Okay, so I stopped listening to stupid things, and then I start reading. Well, like NPR is not that much better, but at least it's like it has some content. So when you're listening to NPR, there's just also one thing that changes. Like, don't spend your time doing like stupid thing that doesn't give you value. Do everything that gives you value, everything that can teach you stuff or make you better or something. Then you do those things. And NPR, I guess, is you have to be well informed. It's like current event news, whatever. So I did that. That's also from Jim Rohn. So I did that. So, and NPR will have recommended books, and I get a lot of my books from that. Like just listening to people interview, and they wrote a book, and then I listened. I was like, oh, really good. I buy a book. So the second book after Hunger Games I bought. It's just an ordinary book, but it's very special to me because it's my first book that I choose. Okay, The Hunger Games is actually not my choice. It's just like my sister had it. I was like, oh, why don't you just read this? I was like, oh, okay. Since I'm gonna start reading, But the second book is the book that I actually choose myself. So it's like become very special. It's called Open. It's by Andrew Agassi, the tennis player. He wrote about everything. I heard that on people, and I read it, and it took me on an adventure, man. Like, and it's just an ordinary boy. He's a ordinary person. He lived ordinary life, but he wrote a book about it. And when I was reading it, it just took me on an adventure. I feel like I was there with him, went through all those things. And it was a special book to me because I kind of realized what books can do for you, can do to you. Like, it really just transforms you to, like, a place in time. And, it was a pretty cool experience. So I had a lot of fun reading that book called Open. And from that, I started reading all kinds of books. Any books. Okay, I don't have I guess I can do one that goes through all the books. All of my books are special to me. All my books are my baby, so I can spend time talk about every single book I read. But yeah, books. And so I started reading books. So in that year, the first year, I decided to do something about my life. It's 2013. In that year, I read 24 books. So that's one book. That's 2 books a month, 2 weeks a book, average. And by the end of the year, I just look at my list of books. I mean, it's not that many books, but to me, it's a very big accomplishment because I never read. So I have books, my own books that I read. I'm very proud of that. And then I looked through my books, and I counted it was 24. So it's like, wow, I read 24 books this year. Then I tried to think about all the books I've ever read in my life. My entire life. So I was 31, so I was in that year I read 24 books, and from when I was born until I was 31 years old, like how many books can I possibly read, you know? And I think really, really hard of all the possible books I read my entire life. I only read 24 books. So imagine that, like my whole life, my whole 30 years of my life, I read 24 books. And in 1 year, I read as much books I read in my entire 30 years of life. So to me, that was like something very special. That's a special number. 24 books for 30 years and 24 books for 1 year. So that to people maybe not, you know, a big deal, but to me it's a very big deal. To me this is a very big accomplishment for me. But of course, after that reading, it became so easy. It became like just what I do all the time. Okay, so of course by that time technology has advanced. You know, like now I don't read on the Nook anymore. You know, I can just read on my phone. But now I also don't even just read anymore. You know, like they make like multimedia. There's like videos and stuff and audio. You know, like that's even more crazy. Like there was a time when I just play audiobooks. And on my way to work, I have to commute a couple hours to work. And then, you know, think about it. Like, you can have one audiobook and you will finish listening to that maybe like in 2 days. You know, because you commute a couple hours. So like, you know, 2 days, couple hours add together. The audiobook, you just play it. Like, you know, like you can listen to a book in like 2 days. Imagine that. And imagine you just play audiobooks every single day when you drive, and like how much like reading you can, or like how much like book reading, book listening you can have just every day because you're driving and you're just playing it and you're just listening to it. Like how much you can like absorb, you know. It was crazy. I did that like like in a month I can listen to, or the equivalent of reading like, you know, like so many books in a month. It was crazy, you know, like it's like my head was gonna explode. Like I stopped because literally like my head was gonna explode. It was just so much like knowledge. It was crazy, man. It was just technology is just like fucking okay. But one thing I have to say about books is like, you know, since reading brings you so much joy and whatever, like you will become kind of like attached to reading. So that is not good. So I kind of realized at the end that I became like that. I just like, I don't do anything but read. Okay, so it becomes like not good also. Because you have to apply what you read into your own life, you know. Like if you just read, then you become like a nerd, you know, like you just read, you don't do anything. Become like another form of loser. It's no different than just watching movies out there. It's the same shit. So I kind of realized that, like, people tell you, oh, reading is good, oh, okay, you know, reading is bad too, okay, don't get like all twisted, like, oh, nothing can go wrong with reading. You know, reading can bring a lot of benefit, but reading can also be harmful. So that is a wise thing you guys should listen to. Like, don't just listen to your teacher, whatever. Just read, just read. Like, no, don't fucking read all the time, man. Just read, moderate, and just do some stuff. You know, like, don't fucking just read all the time. But reading is important, but not important to a point where you do nothing but reading. That's stupid. So I kind of realized that. So, you know, when I was really good at reading, I can read like a couple books in a month. You know, like I can read 1 book, 2 books a week if I wanted to. But I kind of just like, nope, not gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep it at like 24 books a year. That's good enough for me. You know, like save money, you know, don't spend all your time reading. That's not productive anymore. So I kind of cut back on the reading. So that's one thing about reading. And another thing is that, you know, reading really it became one of my really fun activities. So one of my favorite things to do in life is to have a good book, go to a restaurant, read, have having a meal and then just have like a cup of coffee or a cup of iced tea or something. And there's free refill, and then I just like drink and read for hours. Like I did that. When I first started, I just first started to make some change to my life. Didn't have that much money, but I have some time on my hand. And I did that a lot. I spent most of my time doing that. I went to a place they have free refill. I just sit there and I just read for hours and hours, just reading until I almost gonna like pass out. And I was like, oh, guess it's time to go. Otherwise I would just read. Okay, so that's one thing about reading. It brings me a lot of joy. That's the point. It brings me a lot of joy. Okay. Another thing I want to say about reading is that reading will give you an effect. Now this effect will make you like, how do you say it? It will make you like feel like you didn't live your life in vain. Like there will be moments where you will have an understanding from your reading. There will be a moment where you have found out something you didn't know about, and it will make you think about something you never think about, and it will make you like, it will like speak to your heart. Like, something we know in our heart, but we're not sure if it's true or whatever, but then sometimes when you read, and then you realize it is true. So it kind of like nourish your belief system. It kind of like, I guess, like maybe consciously or unconsciously or whatever, but it will like start to shape who you are as a person, like from the inside. Because of all these things you're learning, and it will start to correct all the misleading belief into like proper belief, like practical belief. Especially if you read good books. If you read good books, it speaks to your heart. Like that's how you are being shaped as a person. You read, and it will shape you as a person. It will change your philosophy. It will change your belief. Change your value, it'll give you new values, and maybe you didn't believe in something before. But when you start reading, you'll be like, oh, I want to believe in that. This is just, this is righteous, like this gives me purpose or meaning, and I will believe in that. So this, I think all this is gifts. All these things that happen to you is kind of like the gifts from reading. So when you read, you will receive all these gifts, and this gift makes you feel so good, like because your life has changed. Because by knowing whatever it is, by having this gift, like you will be a different person, and that is a very precious change. And then when I was reading, I experienced that a lot, and it is pretty amazing. It is amazing. It will change you as a person. Doesn't matter if you're sad or you are depressed, or if you're not sure, or it will make you happy. Like it will make you like, you can be all alone, you can be the loneliest person on earth, but because you have these gifts, and then you realize like, wow, like I can't believe I found out about this. Like, the whole universe, like I have this like knowledge, and it's like pretty amazing. So these are the gifts from reading, and the gifts will make you happy because they change you. So that's another thing from reading, is that it brings joy. Okay, so what's another thing? Let's see. Another thing about reading. I think that's about it. I mean, besides the learning about everything that you wanted to learn, and all these gifts, and the joy and the fun things about reading, especially for someone like me that's like, if you're a loser, you should start reading. Because you have to be educated, you have to be more informed. Oh, okay, so that's another thing about reading. It's like I became educated. Okay. I didn't go to school, like I finished high school. I got pretty good grades, but like that was just from like pressure from family and from like my own pride, so I tried to get good grades like everybody, but then I'm not a smart person. I'm not an academically smart person, so I didn't do well in school. And so I'm not educated. I didn't go to college and then what? Yeah, not educated. So when you are not educated, and then if your work environment is not educated environment, then you become like an uneducated person. And when you're uneducated, like you will carry yourself in a way that's like uneducated, like kind of like uncivilized, I guess. Like not, we live in the United States, so how uncivilized can we possibly be? But just the way you carry yourself, now you can tell, someone knows how to carry themselves. They look refined, they look graceful. And someone who doesn't know, they look like a slob, like you can tell. So that's the one thing about reading, is that you don't have to go to school to be educated. Reading is like a free education. You just have to buy the books, but it's so cheap. And by reading, you can become educated. So for people who didn't go to school, but reading is just a way to educate yourself. It's not as good as going to school. I guess going to school is more really about I guess it gives you more benefit, right? Because you need to have some practice of discipline. There's exam, the knowledge is different. Academic knowledge is different. It's more about facts. And reading is more about like your interest, like what you want to learn yourself. So maybe it's not as complete, but it's best to have both. Like if you are educated, have a college degree or whatever, you're a learner person and you also like to read, that'll be like the best. But if you cannot do that, then you should just pick one or the other. It's better than nothing, better than like being uneducated. So you either go to school or whatever, or you just be like me, just read. So that's another thing about reading. It's about education. I guess you get your education from reading. You can study history. You can be a very good history. Maybe not a professional historian, but you can be pretty well informed about history, and that's pretty easy. All you do is just read. History is one of the best things to learn from, just reading. So you can just do that. Probably like the equivalent of like people who have a history degrees. Like if you just read history all the time, know so much stuff, have your own opinions, and write your own history and interpret history your own way. It's great. It's really fun. You can be a writer. If you read enough, you can be a writer. Stuff like that. So, reading is good. That's all I have to say. I think that's all I have to say about it. And I still do till this day. So that's for the record.